Jr., and the informative speech that will be given today will be about the worst oil spill ever recorded. During this presentation, I plan on going over key facts that the media decided not to share with you for reasons way above my middle-class status. Now, in no way am I shining light on a conspiracy or cover-up. My sole purpose is to give you information that has basically been swept under the corporate rug. Now, if there's anyone here who's unaware of what I'm talking about, this message pertains to the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. For decades, oil has been a major natural resource and a very high source of income. This element alone has earned billions of dollars for wealthy corporations. Now, the Gulf of Mexico is located off the Louisiana coastline. Its ecosystem produces massive amounts of sea life, creating jobs, income for crabbing and fishing industries, and basically a way of life for these coastal states. On Tuesday, April 20th, 11 p.m., an explosion occurred on one of BP's Deepwater Horizon oil rigs. 15 crew members were missing and later on declared dead. Now, the cause of this explosion was due to a dysfunctional blowout preventer, which is specifically designed to prevent blowouts whenever pressure in these wells rises. Now, scientists employed under BP supervision basically estimated the amount of oil leaking from this well at a mere 5,000 barrels per day. Now, BP set up an underwater camera showing this well and the oil coming out of it. Coastal residents demanded that they wanted a new estimate. So after a revised estimate, scientists then placed the amount of oil leaking from this well at a whopping 60,000 to 100,000 barrels per day. Now, there are 42 gallons of oil per barrel. If you do the math, in which case I did, that makes the oil coming from this well at 2.4 to 4.2 million gallons per day. That's 327 million gallons of oil that is gushed into the Gulf from April to July 16th, when the well was finally shut down after spewing all this oil and natural gas with a substance called methane. Now, what is methane? Methane is an odorless, colorless, and flammable substance. It is also a major component in the natural gas used to heat your homes. From the crude oil that was leaking from this well, 40% of it was natural gas. Now, BP gets fined $1,100 per barrel that reaches the surface of the water. So, at 100,000 barrels per day, that makes a total amount of fine at $110 million a day. And in 3 months, it expands to billions easily. Now, this is where corporate greed comes into play. While trying to figure out ways of shutting down this well, and coming from a billion-dollar corporation involved shoving tires and golf balls into the well, they decided to use a chemical that is specifically designed to break down oil into the smallest form, practically into the size of an atom, making it virtually invisible to the naked eye. This chemical is called kerosene. So what do we know about kerosene? Kerosene is a product line of solvents primarily used as a dispersant to break down oil slicks. It is also produced by Nalco Holding Company, which is associated with BP and Exxon. Now, there are two things that seriously deserve our attention about this chemical. One, this chemical is extremely toxic. And the second, BP has used 1.8 million gallons of this chemical by dispersing it over Gulf waters and directly into the gushing well. Congressman Edward Markey of Massachusetts, along with other researchers, argued that dispersing this toxic chemical at such a large scale has never been done before and may include health risks. I got two rhetorical questions for you. The first one, what do you think will happen when crab and fish ingest this oil mixed with the chemical? The second one, most importantly, what do you think will happen when humans are exposed to this oil mixed with the chemical kerosene? Well, I'll tell you what has happened. BP hired coastal residents as a part of the operation to clean up the beaches. The first week, there's already reports of nausea and headache. Till this day, crab and oyster larvae had traces of oil into it. That's been swept under the rug. During this presentation, I've attempted to condense an hour-long subject into a 5-minute briefing, just by making you aware of the magnitude of this major oil spill. Now, even though the Gulf is far from us, this impact to one of our nation's major provider of seafood can easily come close to home. So I ask you to keep an open mind. When you hear about major disasters such as this oil spill and the oil spill in China, which I'm sure none of you probably heard, maybe most of you. As human beings who live on this planet, we should be obligated and informed on what's going on in this world. because this is the only one we have. Now, I thank you for your time, and I ask you to please enjoy the rest of the presentation and give them your undivided attention. So, I ask you to keep an open mind. When you hear about major disasters such as this oil spill and the oil spill in China, which I'm sure none of you probably heard, maybe most of you, as human beings who live on this planet, we should be obligated and informed on what's going on in this world, because this is the only one we have. Now, I thank you for your time, and I